Welcome back, everyone. This is Josh from the Clearing Waivers podcast. Back at you once again. Appreciate you joining us again for this week. No shenanigans this week. We are gonna try to see if we still have our fastball. If by fastball we're talking about like maybe a high 60s. It's not a changeup, but it is type of fastball. We're gonna see if we still got to talk some sports. So in the Clear the Waivers, we're going to talk about a little golf as well. There was a fancy little fun golf match this weekend. We're going to talk about some of the proposals that are currently on the table with the NBA and the MLB, see if we can get them back on the field. And then we'll get back into the regular shenanigans. But before we get on all that, let's get into our co-host. Let's get right into them. Rance, how was your week this week, man? Cool. Brian, how was your week this week?
Oh my God!
Good.
Rance, your week was good?
Just had a nice barbecue. Yeah, barbecue on Saturday, and that was really about it. So
nice. Yep. Memorial Day weekend. Hope everybody, all the Sink Pissers out there, had a good Memorial Day weekend. So very, very good. Brian, how was your week?
It was great. With starting to feel like summer again, with the heat coming back.
Muggy.
Up a little lather if you're outside this weekend.
Boy, howdy.
Even Monday it was cloudy, but my God, it was humid.
Mm-hmm.
Not ready for that again. But it's baseball season, so God dang it. Let's figure it out, boys.
Let's try to get it taken there. We'll get into that. Let's go with Kitty here. Kitty, how was your week? Looks like you're in. Did you go traveling in Airbnb this week? You look real swanky
I got
there.
some new surroundings this week. Dog sitting for friends that left town this week, so I think they went down to Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So
Is it the Mahomes?
Traveling, so
the Mahomeses?
Okay, kind of looks like that in the background. Yeah, I mean, it's real swanked up over here.
Sure.
I don't want to disclose my exact location just in case, don't want to put anyone on blast here. So I enjoyed the weather as well by hitting the golf course this weekend. So
how many holes you get in this weekend?
54. Played Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I took it easy because the guys I played with, 2 of them played also on Friday, so they went 72 and 4 days.
Man,
good God.
None of us got better by Monday.
by Monday or Sunday, you were ready to call it quits.
I did take an early bedtime on Monday for I think probably from 3 rounds of golf and drinking beer on the course. So it's good times.
Never a bad weekend when you spend 54 holes on the golf course, but
exactly.
We'll jump into it like we talked about earlier. Golf is the main event this weekend with the match 2, as they're calling it. Peyton Manning, Tiger Woods took down Thomas Brady, and Philip Mickelson beat him by 1 hole. Looked like they raised about $20 million for COVID relief, which was really, really cool. I think each one of them put up was $2.5 million to start the purse off, and then it was just kind of filtered and added to as they went. Some cool moments there, but really damp day. They weren't sure. The 45-minute storm delay, but kind of reminded me of back in the old Tiger Woods video games where you could tiger-proof the course a little bit. Strong winds and super damp grass, but all around really good event. Could use some more of that throughout this part. But Kitty, what do you think of the best part here? What do you think of the event in total?
I was surprised by how entertaining it was because I think we all kind of were a little disappointed in that first one where it was just Tiger versus Phil, as when they played their one out, and I think it was Vegas Cup 2 years ago over Thanksgiving break. And this one, I mean, it was compelling. I mean, it was a close match, which also always helps when you're doing a match play with teams out 5
amateurs.
10 holes. You end up just who cares about this? So it was nice to see a close match, and watching Brady just spray balls off the tee the right all day was kind of fun to watch as an amateur golfer myself. So
legitimately getting pissed off, legitimately getting aggravated too.
He was. I mean, then he does all that, and then he sucks one in on his after he takes a drop and just puts the juice on the ball and pulls it back in the cup. So that was fun.
So
I didn't.
Right as
were
someone
watching,
finally gave him shit. Chuck Barkley finally was giving him shit on his earpiece, and then he just sinks it.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy on Monday about it when we were golfing, and so we just watched in the clubhouse after our round on Sunday, so we didn't have the sound in there. But apparently that was also where it was at with Barkley and then Koepka chiming in as well, just ripping these guys and just trying to goad them into making bigger bets or putting money on the line. And Koepka telling Tom he'll give charity money if he can make a par. That is just a dagger in the back, like right in the kidneys. Just
real good live trolls.
Peyton Manning had some great trash talk too.
Yeah, he did.
He had a lot of just jabs all day until they finally all got quiet about hole, 14.
Yeah, once it starts, someone's got to win this thing. We better start focus on the golf.
Yep. Peyton was a great addition to it, though. I felt like because he was about the only one that was really talking.
That was my biggest
out on the course.
That was my biggest like complaint about it in the first 9 holes is like nobody but Phil was talking, and then finally Peyton Manning starts shit talking, and I was like, finally, there's a dude that's not a complete robot.
Right, that's the one bitch knock on golfers for the longest time is they have no personality. So some of these events like this will showcase, it's true, they don't have any personality. Some of these guys.
Yep.
I mean, Tiger didn't hardly say anything. I was a little bit surprised by that.
Right, usually, I mean, he'll at least like last year with Phil or the Thanksgiving when just him on Phil he was talking pretty good, at least a little bit more. So
I love that Phil Mickelson calls him Cat. That's my favorite thing in the world now for some reason. What do you think, Cat? Love it.
That's good.
Good stuff there. So yeah, we kind of talked about the Brady sinking, and it was still live sports, so it was very interesting anyways, but that kind of kicked off about a 15-minute span where it's just like, this is electric. I love this. Okay, there's electric. Yeah. I get it. So like he sank the putt, and then I think it was the next hole that Justin Thomas called Barkley a fat ass, which that was awesome. Really, really funny stuff. And then soon after that was when Peyton won the closest to the pin challenge. So it kind of started getting real interesting in that little 15-minute span. I think it was maybe around hole 8 or 9 right before they turned. But I'm all in for these things. Give me more of these. Give me some more interesting people. Give me some more shit talk, and I am signing all the way up for it.
Right. Yeah, that's you asked us who we thought would be better. I'm just trying to think of what
I'd like to.
What'd you say, Rance?
Sorry.
Justin Thomas, when he said, "I'd like to see you dunk a ball, fat ass." That was funny.
I see your fat ass dunk a basketball right now. Good stuff. Give me Justin Thomas on that course if that's the heat he's bringing. Get him out there.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
him
you
and
get
Kitty's boy Ian Poulter out there talking trash.
He'd be a trash talker, I would think.
You could totally get like a better foursome of trash talkers out there for less money and just as much, if not more, entertainment in my book.
Right.
Brooks Koepka's a good guy to talk. I mean, he'll talk shit. That Bryson DeChambeau or whatever is his rival that they talk shit.
Get them rolling. Yeah. That would be great as well.
As far as athletes go, I mean, we got to start with Mahomes, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen his Instagram videos, but that dude bombs off the tee. And that is Andy has a personality, which is the opposite of what Tom Brady was. That puss wouldn't hit a driver all day long.
That was wild.
It was so weird.
But he could still hit bombs with the iron. Like, Peyton was hitting with the driver, and Brady was right behind him all day.
Yeah, I think we all know people or golf with people that say, I just got to stay with the driver today. It's going to be spraying all over the place. And then they hit their 3-iron, their fairway wood down the fairway.
Yep.
Well, Brady's spraying shots anyway, so just hit the big dog, bud.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let it rip.
That's right.
I was with Kitty on the part that they should have done alt shot the whole 18. I was a little bored by the first 9, but once they started doing alt shot, damn, I thought that was great.
Yep.
Because you knew Tom, he wasn't helping Phil at all on best ball. I mean, there was no way.
Yeah.
And I know there was a few holes that they got some strokes, I think.
Yeah.
I think was there 3 holes were paid.
It's like 3 or 4.
I think it was 3 or
that was a good add-in. That was a good add-in. But I mean, wasn't going to beat him on best ball. I mean, that whole shot was fun to see.
Yeah, right.
And if you basically need to give these guys a stroke on every hole against professional golfers. Unless these guys have played in a tour event, they're not going to par many of these holes.
Right.
Those PGA guys on this course is like the like this, or they're just going to par everything.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I'm totally in agreement. If you make the entire thing alt shot, you don't have to give shots at all. It makes it way more interesting, and you can have some way bigger swings.
oh yeah,
got to count on a guy that's spraying it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And there was more strategy involved because both guys were driving.
Yep.
So I like that
so you
aspect.
See, Yes, you see which kind of shot, who's going to be, because the professional take the amateur's drive and trying to get in with a little closer shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, I would think that you guys would agree that approach shot, when you have like an amateur with a decent handicap, you get his drive first and then give that pro the approach shot, or even the first putt or even the next shot. It's definitely going to even the playing field. I mean, it's going to show those pros like why they're so damn good, and and really kind of make it a lot more interesting. So I'm very interested in the alt shot a little bit more. But yeah, I kind of talked to you guys. What is there a matchup that you guys want to see for number 3?
I would be happy to see Barkley put on the shoes and try to hit some balls. I don't know if you want to go worse golfers or you go better golfers. You put maybe Steph Curry and Romo in there, since they're a little better than Manning and Brady, where you get a little closer to golfers that can handle their own a little better on a course like that. So,
Romo
or you just
definitely crossed my mind.
Let's see what
Romo.
Barkley can put out there.
The one that came to my mind, especially right now, I don't know what his golf game is like, but if you got Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan out there on the same course somehow, that would be you got locked in, dialed in Michael Jordan on the golf course, smoking 3-foot-long cigars and just getting in Isaiah Thomas's ass. I am very interested in that matchup.
I love that.
I just wonder what happens when they both show, once Isaiah Thomas shows up at the course. What does Jordan do?
Yep. Yep. And I mean, you sell it to
who's he punch first?
You sell it to Jordan like it's charity, man. You can't say no.
Right.
This is not the dream team.
I mean, if you can get Jordan, I don't really need Isaiah, because Jordan's going to talk shit all day. Even if you just got Jordan against Chuck or Jordan against any of those guys, are not afraid to come back at him.
I mean, Jordan, and then you got the world's greatest shit talker. I don't know what his golfing is like, but Gary Payton. Get those two guys talking shit towards you. That's a masterclass in shit talk.
Especially after that doc came out.
Yep.
Everyone saw him laughing at the glove.
Yep. I have no idea what Peyton's game is like, but that might be a pay-per-view event that I'm willing to spend $60 on.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think those the live sports is definitely above and beyond what these replays and historical games. I mean, I don't know what we're calling historical. Last night they had the Chargers and Steelers game, which was Vic's second to last start of his career. I mean, they must be running out of shit to air if they're trying to trot out that kind of stuff. But give me some live sports. I'm not a big golf guy, and I loved watching that thing. I sat sat poolside, kiddie poolside, and watched that thing all day. Good stuff.
I think the only thing that was kind of disappointing about watching it live was the announcers never really knew when to chime in and when to leave it to someone to talk on the course. There was just a little bit too much dead air. And I mean, I get it that it's kind of new to everybody, and even the announcers were in those little plexiglass boxes separated from each other.
So weird.
So that was kind of strange, but there's a little bit too much dead air. So if they could clean that up a little bit, it would be even better experience, I think.
Yep. I mean, this is kind of like Rock and Jock, only a little bit more serious. I want more Rock and Jock in my life so badly. Well, let's move into.
Need to throw some holes in there with giant cups. So if you make it from the fairway, you get some.
And that made it even more interesting when they did those little, like the one club challenge was interesting when they were putting with irons. I thought that was really
shows
cool.
Also that just shows how much better the pros are than everybody else.
100%. Yeah.
I'll just take a six. I'll take a 600 and just easy putt for me from 35 feet. Who cares?
I would still rather them, instead of a one club challenge, I want it to be only drivers.
Mm-hmm.
You let the big dog eat, and then you just tap, 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 tap. Finally get it.
That would be so hard if you got within 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially with how wet it was out there, because they have to roll it up there and just take forever to get some of those shots up.
I mean, PGA Tour, holler at your boys. I mean, we could set this up and it'd be a lot of fun. We got lots of ideas that we'd love to share with you.
What if you got Grinky out there?
Oh yeah,
He wouldn't say a word.
That would be robotic.
That's his issue,
the
yeah.
He wouldn't
worst.
say a word.
I don't know, man. Sometimes he just gives those little one-liners under his breath, and if you pick up on them, I mean, it's hilarious.
Like that spring training video when he was shagging fly balls.
Yeah, and he's a scratch golfer, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's played only a couple times, and I think he shot below 80 both times.
And competitive as hell.
I don't think he plays very much because I think he's like, I don't want to play professionally. I'm just not going to play.
I don't know. It's nice in theory, but I think it would be tough to execute and get on board with once you kind of start got going.
Yeah.
But I am for like doing like the those viral videos of Mahomes and Trout. I think Kyle Schwarber had a big golf shot. I mean, get those dudes in for a long drive contest, or just
there you go.
Just get them together at a Top Golf and let them throw darts out there. I'm interested in that as well.
That could be a fun thing having NFL guys do a Top Golf event.
Yep.
And baseball players. Yep.
For
Yeah,
baseball
the
players,
long drive would be a great idea between like sports. Guys that don't play golf regular, just let them just cut loose. With
Let them eat.
They could even do something like that on a freaking Zoom if they just go to their local Top
Yep.
Golf.
Yep.
Yeah,
and just
definitely.
let the technology tell us what they did. I'd watch that.
I'm in.
Don't get any ideas. We're not going to do that because I am just trash at golf. We're not doing that. Well, let's move on to the next topics, which is basically kind of the same topic about all of them. Is when are the rest of them going to be back? When is NBA? Are they going to pick up their season? MLB? Are they going to start their season? I did see that NHL kind of announced their new proposal, which was a lot of interesting. Very interesting. 24 teams, conference-based round robin, playing out of 2 CD hubs. They'll go 5 rounds. They'll reseed the teams after each round somehow, which is really cool. So if all that's approved, they can get rolling. They're talking like maybe August is a thing, but they're just going to jump in the playoffs. I mean, their season was more or less pretty close to being done anyways. So that whole format, very interesting to me. I'm not a hockey guy, but boy, I could be if that's the only thing that comes on.
Yeah. And playoff hockey.
Yeah, I mean,
even if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, NHL playoff hockey is very, very intriguing. I will admit that it is very good.
And I saw that Putz Wilbon on PTI earlier complaining about it to Tony or whoever, but he was complaining about how it's too confusing. There's all these teams. I just don't get it. You have to tell me who's playing who. I just don't get it. Like, dude, shut up. We got nothing but time right now.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN will tell you who's playing. You don't have to figure it out.
Very easy.
Yep. Yep.
Grump.
You could tell me 10 minutes before the game, this team's playing, this team playing. I'd be like, cool, let's roll. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But we're not a hockey podcast yet. We might be.
We probably couldn't even name 10 hockey teams.
That's the DFA question is name 8 hockey teams this week.
Yes.
So get to thinking on that. We very well could. We reserve the right to become a hockey podcast, much like we became an XFL podcast after the first weekend.
R.I.P.
But I do want to talk about kind of the ones we're more interested in. It seems like the NFL, everybody kind of thinks that is going to start in its regularly time in September. But the 2 interesting ones kind of right now are the NBA and the Major League Baseball. So let's start with the NBA. What they're kind of talking about right now is just having teams go down to the to Disney World in Orlando. They're going to have like a bubble. Everybody's just going to play all their games there. They're still trying to figure out a format, which is going to determine how many teams go. A lot of teams are not really in it anymore, but they'll go try to determine some kind of winner if they're going to start from where they left off or they're going to just start in on the playoffs. That's also on the table as well. But I guess more than half the teams already have started those individual workouts. They were, I guess, allowed to start them on May 8th, and I think I've seen that over half of the teams have been involved with those. They do have restrictions of no more than 4 players at a time, and the next step would probably be loosening those restrictions up. But Rance, what did you kind of gather from this scenario? What do you think of this situation? Are you down for it, or what do you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking they'd just skip right to the playoffs is what I do. I mean, with so many teams that far out of it, I'd bring them in. I mean, the complex holds is like about 5,000 rooms is what I read down there.
Yeah.
So you could easily get everybody in there, I think, which was cool. I like the idea of a tournament. I mean, I don't think they can just play one tournament game and then just have a team be out. Like if you did 1 to 16, I mean, surely they're going to do best of 3 or best of 5 or something like that. I would hope.
Yeah.
But West up, I mean, that'd be fun to watch, I think. So
For sure. And they're talking like, since there's only so many courts that they could run with, they're talking about basketball literally starting at like 11 a.m., rolling to like 11 p.m. to get all the games in every day. And I mean, at this
Sounds
point,
great.
there's nothing else going on. So that sounds awesome.
what I was reading is that one field house could do 6 full courts, or
Wow.
they can actually just do like the Visa Center and the HP field house and just make it like one stadium court. You know what I'm saying? Like if they wanted to just run one game on one, run
Showcase.
one game on another, and
Yeah.
showcase it, and then just keep them running after that. If you did that, you think 2.5, 3 hours per game. You could probably get in 8 games a day if you started
Yeah.
at noon or something like that. So
It is. I mean, it's not ideal for a fan experience, but I mean, I think most people would rather see a replay of a DVR game from earlier in the day than none, basically. Especially if you got a team that's in it. I mean, if you're a Lakers fan or a Bucks fan or any of these teams that are still in it, you would much rather see them make a run at a title than not at this point.
yeah. And I was also looking at too, as far as those courts, like it'd be no problem for them to hook it up, to get it on TV. Like all that technology is already there because they do all that stuff at those courts anyway.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have to be like something new. Like they could already have that all hooked up and ready to go in no time is what I was reading in the article. So it'd be pretty
That's
cool.
always good. Yeah. 'Cause that's always some of those smaller arenas they want to play in, or smaller gyms. You don't have the capabilities for television audience, but maybe like if they're doing like a high school gym, you mount the camera up top of the bleachers and just get one shot the whole time. So these courts have a little bigger, a little more capabilities for filming. You're in much better shape.
The L22.
Wouldn't it
And
be
even
something
still,
though?
you don't even need announcers technically, or they don't need to be in the gym. They could just be remote
Be like
watching the same
A
feed.
D-League game with big names.
Yeah.
Summer League.
The summer league stuff, same kind of situation there.
I was looking up the bracket today too. Like the Lakers could play the Nets first round if you did 2 versus 15. You don't maybe Kyrie's back, maybe Durant. I mean, who knows? That'd be something pretty cool, I would think.
There could be some interesting matchups when you go across conferences. Yeah.
So that kind of raises a good point. And in that particular situation, especially, whoever is the crown champion, do you think there's an asterisk by their name?
Kind of just depends on how many more games they play and how long a series they can make these things go. If they do true 7-game series, I don't see why you'd have to asterisk it. I mean, most of the teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, these teams that are in that 9 to 12 range, they suck anyway. I mean, they suck for 67 games.
Right.
They're going to turn it around in late March, early April, and make the playoffs, and then knock off a 1 seed.
I mean, I don't know what the Nets are doing. The Nets are a perfect example. I don't know what they're doing, but if they're able to get Kyrie and somehow get Durant healthy on the floor, I mean, that's a whole other ball team.
They would do something, yeah. Right.
Rance, what do you think? Asterisks or no?
I would say no. I mean, there's a way you can play. I was thinking you could play the first round, best of 3, get to the 8, best of 5, and then the last 4 could play the best of regular 7-game series. But I would say no.
Yeah. Brian?
I mean, I think putting an asterisk next to it is kind of inevitable because they're probably going to finish with playing fewer than 82 games regular season. I think if they jump right into the playoffs, I mean, it makes everything a little bit different because you can finish out a regular season, right? But as far as like saying that title would be worth less than any other title is silly. I just think, I mean, you can put an asterisk next to it and just say, the season was shortened because blah, 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 but we still played out our tournament as we would, playoffs as we would. And so that title would – I'd wear that with pride just as I would have won from 2019.
Yep. I saw the clip floating around today. Dan Patrick show was talking to Charles Barkley, and Dan Patrick brought up the point that if nobody else would get an asterisk on it unless it's LeBron.
Yeah. Yep.
So many haters out
there's
there.
Some 100 – I mean, there's some validity in that for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like the get-ups and the first takes can't wait to have that argument for the next 6 months after that happens.
Yep.
Well, LeBron's only got really 3 titles still. He doesn't have 4 if he wins this year. He's still 3 behind Michael.
Well, the last little point I got here, Rance, I want you to put some kind of percentage on it. What are the odds that you think that this deal gets done?
I think 75%. I really think they'll play the rest of the NBA season.
Yeah. I think that's pretty fair. You either one of you guys have another thought on that?
I didn't realize how early they'd opened up already, and they've been practicing and doing stuff. So that's a pretty good sign that you have.
I mean, it sounds like
it's a
they
good sign
get ramped up real fast.
But I haven't heard anything about it because if you'd heard a bunch of stuff, it'd been a bunch of issues at that point. So no news is good news on that stuff. So I'd say it looks pretty promising right now.
Yeah.
I think I could see 75% for sure.
Yep. I think so too. And if the only issue kind of comes is if they get everything figured out, they get ramped up, and then some team contracts it, and then then what? And then what the hell do you do?
Then you're in real trouble. Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be interesting.
I think it's that kind of scenario. I think at this point it's very unlikely because we already saw with like the Jazz, they were playing games already. No one really knew how to interact with each other or lack thereof. No one knew social distancing. No one knew anything about that. And
no one thought that licking microphones was a bad thing.
They had an infected player in the locker room, and he only infected one other player at that time. And so I think now with all these precautions and with all this testing they're going to have, I don't think you're going to see that doomsday experience where there's going to be, even half the team at once has it.
I feel, if it's the only thing going on though, and one of those players contracts it, I mean, it's going to be, they're going to like every Big J is going to run with that story, and they will not stop until something's canceled. Guaranteed.
Right. But that's what's been important about all these commissioners in all these sports have come out and said, we have to have a plan when people do test positive.
Yep.
We can't shut back down.
Yep.
And they've all come out and said that is going to happen. We're not shutting it back down when someone tests positive. Here's our contingency plan, A, B, C, D, and here's how it's going to play out. So I don't see, even if, media takes some runs with it, even if a guy like LeBron, tests positive at some point, it's going to be a huge news story, but it's not going to be shut the league back down type of thing.
Talking about an asterisk gets putting on somebody's championship. LeBron gets that COVID and he can't finish the season. That'll be some asterisk stuff going on there for sure.
But I was thinking about that earlier though, and like all through the years of sports, people get injured in the playoffs. People get sick.
Jordan had the flu, but he might have been poisoned or he might have been hungover. Who knows?
Sometimes they get wheeled off in a wheelchair after they shit their pants.
Yeah. True.
I mean, we've all been there. Standard operating procedure. So, with all that being said, let's move on to the ever interesting saga that is the MLB comeback. This is an absolute shit show. It might, and the fact that it did not start seems to be the big variable that no one knows how to deal with. The latest one still has the latest proposal the owner sent to the players union today, 82 game schedule. The schedule is going to try to be remade so the geographic divisions play within their own geographic divisions. So the AL Central would play the NL Central. Rosters would expand to 30 players, and then they'd have like a backup squad of 20 players. So you got 50 players involved, but then there's no minor league season either. So that's an interesting thing to kind of think about here. The draft comes up in I mean, like 10 days, I believe. So that's also very interesting. They did some tweaking, 5 rounds. And then I think they can't give anybody else more than $20,000 to sign after that, which was a very interesting tweak to it. But the big problem here in this proposal is that the owners and the players union cannot come to an agreement, a new agreement on all the lost revenue. There was a agreed to deal back in March. So there's going to be a prorated salary program, but it seemed like the owners didn't take into account not having any fans in the stands at the time. So now they're coming back for more money. Players are like, nah, fuck that. We agreed to this, and you're gonna have to honor it. The official proposal they sent to the union today was that it was some kind of sliding scale, to where the guys that were making, everybody gets a pay cut. The guys making the least amount of money is going to make the biggest percentage of their guaranteed money that they were going to make. The high money, high profile athletes are going to take the biggest pay cut. And saw the tweet come out from the Athletics saying, the MLBPA, they were very disappointed in that proposal. So back to the drawing board with that. But Brian, after all this is kind of all said and done, it seems like Jeff Passan is talking about this week being absolutely critical to the potential of a baseball season happening, with spring training 2.0 kind of would have to open up at the end of June here. But where are you kind of at on this scenario? Are you off this train? Do you not give a shit until they give some firm details, or where are you at?
I think he's totally right about this next 1 to 2 weeks, because I think, if I remember, 2 weeks, if they get a deal done, they can still kind of stay on that same schedule that they've been talking about, and they can still play half the season and everything. And so I think it's just monumental that they figure this out, because they cannot handle another 1994 work stoppage in this time that we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. And they are going to look so bad as a whole, as a sport, if they can't get it figured out over money, when all the other sports are bending over backwards and doing their best to get back and playing, because they know people are craving to see it. These players are craving paychecks, and if they can't figure it out in the next couple of weeks, I mean, they're going to lose so many more fans just that aren't going to come back to the game, because I mean, they were already worried about the younger generation kind of has baseball at the back of their mind, because they're going more to football and basketball as far as being a fan of it, and it's kind of an old white man's game, really, baseball is becoming, and they were already nervous about that. And so if you can't figure out the money here and you go on a strike and you don't play the rest of this season, I think it just would be devastating to Major League Baseball as a whole.
I could totally get on board with that. Yeah.
And I think what I don't understand is the bickering back and forth, as far as they're trying to treat this negotiation and, not wanting to make it look like they're playing with the salary cap, the Players Association, because they're saying that will hurt them long-term type of thing. But to me, when you look at it just from an outsider, common sense type way from the game, the game is going to bring in less revenue, right? Not only just half the season, but you're missing all those fans paying in the stands. So I don't understand the players that are still pissed off and say, we had an agreement, we should get half our paychecks, but not that. There's so much money that's not coming in anymore. So I don't understand just the concept of, well, we will have to take a little bit less than half our paycheck that we would have, because that money's just not coming. It's not there. And so yeah. That Tony Clark quote where he said, a system that restricts player based on revenues is a salary cap, period. And I'm just like, why? Why can't you just all look at the books and say, this is how much money we expect to come in, and we want this much of it, and you can get that much of it, and we just say this is a one half season agreement, and we go back to doing business as normal in our next deal when everything comes back to normal, the revenues are coming in from all streams as they were before. Why can't we treat this like the special, unique situation that it is in? I just don't understand the posturing of, we have to stand firm now or we're going to be weak in the future. It's like nothing is usual right now in general. So what's so important about holding strong for this half season when maybe you have to make some concessions. And I get no one should feel sorry for the billionaires. I understand that totally. But at the same time, it's also I'm not feeling sorry.
The owners are lying about how much money they're making. They're lying about how much money they're making. There's no way I can believe that they're.
And that was part of it.
They were saying before during a normal season they lose money. Like bullshit.
Yeah, complete horseshit.
You don't lose money. There's no.
And I read the
story
in the Athletic that kind of toss all this stuff around, and they said because the owners are so secretive in their revenues and all that stuff, that Forbes is actually the most accurate as far as telling you what the team's worth, what they made. And according to them, last season the Marlins were the only team that worked at a deficit. Everyone else at least made something. And I know the players union asked for show us the books, show us how you're losing this percentage of money. And at the end, I think on Friday, the owners submitted some of their financials. I'm sure it didn't suffice to say everything they asked for, but hopefully they got enough to get a picture on at least where their numbers are coming from. They can say, they're still total bullshit if they want to, but at least we're exchanging some information now to say they're not just throwing out these numbers and saying we're losing $4 billion if we don't blah, blah, blah. And
so tax returns, owners.
Right. And I think that's a whole nother part of this too, with you fighting a salary cap in general, is if these other leagues, they know exactly what revenues are, what they're coming in, because they negotiate that revenue sharing. And I mean, I don't know why they're so against the idea of salary cap to begin with. I mean, you're making basically rules to not limit your top 2% of your players so they can make whatever they want and teams can pay whatever they want. But another interesting point I thought that I brought up in that they're worried about next year owners trying to get that money back that they lost this year by not spending on our free agents and saving everything they can, and how this is going to hurt the upcoming free agents to come. And so they talked about how maybe in this deal they put a floor into team spending. And the problem with that is if you want to talk to the owners about a floor, guess what they're going to talk about? A cap. Yep. It's saying you want us to spend this much money. Don't make us spend, inordinate amounts. So, I mean, I get the arguments. I get why it's not a simple thing to figure out because there's a lot of factors going into it. I just hope that at the end of the day they can figure something out that maybe it is unique just for this few months.
Yep. And I mean, I think that would require some pride swallowing on both sides for sure. Definitely some more transparency of what's going on. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it was more of a tug of war with leverage down the road, even though that does sound super stupid. But I mean, I did like your point about it being a potential death sentence with some kind of labor stoppage. I think they still have an agreement. The labor agreement ends after this season, I believe.
2021 is when it's December 1st, 2021.
Okay, so it would be another season. So you don't want to have this kind of friction with vendettas and stuff that close to some kind of negotiations for a new agreement. I was already kind of seeing that as being a potential labor stoppage anyways, and then you're throwing this is just going to be more to it. And this is all taken to the fact that the guys that make the least amount of money are minor league ball players. They are not getting paid dick right now.
Nothing.
And nobody is really advocating for them anymore. At first, that was the hot topic. They all wanted to make sure that minor league players were protected regardless of what, if they were playing or not. Now that seems to be completely fallen by the wayside. Now everybody's worried about the MLB players, and that's not a position that we need to be in right now.
And they also were talking about basically shutting down multiple minor league teams even.
Just getting rid of them all together.
Get rid of a bunch of teams.
Yep.
So,
that's a great point, Josh.
Yeah,
that the players union, I still can't believe after all this years they haven't fought more for the minor leaguers.
100%.
Knowing that's where they came up through, and knowing they don't get paid hardly anything. It's crazy to me that they at some point they just lose interest in representing those guys, and it sucks for them.
Rance, you got some?
Well, no, has there been several guys, like I've heard like Bryce Harper and, what was it, Snell, the pitcher, just saying they won't play type thing or what? I mean, I haven't followed it near as closely as I followed like the NBA stuff, but I mean, is there a concern of just players just like saying, fuck this, I'm not playing
Definitely.
at all this
Yeah.
year?
There's some, like you said, there's some big
Yeah.
names out there. And the big one is, I think Mike Trout is basically like, the biggest comment I've heard from him is that if you talk about all these bubble situations where they go stay in a hotel and they go straight from the hotel to the complex and that's all they do. He was more worried about the family and never seeing their family for 3 to 4 months type of thing. He's got a kid on the way, so he's going to be like, he's going to go to that kid's birth and then spend 2 days or 2 weeks on the DL trying to get cleared from COVID concerns before he's greenlit to get back out there. And that's 2 weeks off of an 82 game schedule already.
And I think they've, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the MLB's kind of gotten away with the bubble idea. I don't think they would restrict them from being with their families. I think they're just hoping to, cut it off, if you will. If someone tests positive, they want to test them regularly enough that if this person tests positive, then we can, sequester them. But I don't think they're talking about bubbles with them, because I think that's
not anymore. No, they were talking about home stadiums and, like I said, the geographic locational division type of thing.
Right. And I think what we may end up, if they ever do get to an agreement here, I think one thing we could see is we keep this kind of similar scale as far as the lower paid guys get all theirs now in full on prorated. And I think you might see the top guys eventually get their money. They may not get it now. They may defer it till next year when the full revenue streams coming in again. I think that's maybe a compromise that they could get to, I could see.
And I think that's what the player union has come out and said, like, we would be interested in and open to coming back for like the deferment of the big salaries type of thing. So yeah, I think that's the best road to go down at this point.
Yeah. And I think if they can come to a conclusion like that, if they come to an agreement, I think you're going to see guys that are outspoken right now. I think if they were to come to an agreement, I'd have a hard time seeing Bryce Harper sitting out. Yeah. I think it would be bad for his brand, be bad for a guy that just started in a new city. It would be a bad look on him. And I don't think I would see, unless somebody's at a legit health risk, if they've got, what do you call it? Pre-existing conditions, then that's a whole nother ball of wax. But that you could sit out and still maintain your brand. I think if you say, hey, I'm looking out for my family, we're in much more danger than the rest of these guys. I think you get a pass when you do that, when you say that. But if you say, I'm not getting my money, so I'm not playing.
Yeah. That could be a whole other a ball of yarn to unravel. But we talked a little bit about the the recoupment of money. Kind of an interesting thing that I keep seeing pop up is the idea of potentially expanding the league. Prior to this, they were talking about expanding. I think the big markets I keep seeing are Portland and Nashville. So I'd be totally on board with potential expansion just because it's just another wrinkle of awesome. I think I have not really been like conscious baseball fan when an expansion draft and expansion has gone on. So I'm very interested to see how that would work out anyways.
Because that's been thrown around for NBA too. And we all know Kansas City would love to get an NBA team.
NHL team as well. I could get real on board with an NHL team in Kansas City.
I'd go watch some hockey if it was
hell yeah.
Then you have a real plan as far as where's that deferred money going to come from next year when we still got to pay a regular payroll. And you say, well, we got more revenue coming in from X and X. And
these two big markets getting a team and then the added income from those for sure.
Guys, that's what I'm saying. We us four of us could just sit in a room
solving all the problems.
Hash it out.
They'd be playing by next week.
Yeah, they would. Yeah,
totally.
Bring all your problems to the Clearing Waivers podcast. We will fix it. We will fix it 100%. We will
marriage counseling.
It's just like only maybe 3-digit $1 million worth of a fee for us to do that.
Small stuff.
Yeah, you can handle that. So I think at the end of the day, potentially one of the more interesting elements of this is the fact that like all of us kind of play fantasy sports. So you could potentially be doing a fantasy baseball draft 1 month. Next month, you're doing a fantasy football draft. And then the following month, you're doing a fantasy basketball draft for next season.
Let's go.
Very interested in that. Just 3 months of chaos. Let's just do this, and the cream will rise to the top. Whoever's able to hang with to roll with those punches in that fast timeline, they deserve their titles. No asterisks there.
Nope, not at all. And people that have multiple TVs may be adding even more. They're just nonstop action.
You never know.
Brian just
I'm
needs
worried
to quit
about
his
the money
job.
I'll spend on DraftKings.
That's why you got that stimulus check, Rance.
Yeah.
I'll be rolling out 38 lineups a day.
You just got a cot in Brian's living room trying to follow all the action. Yeah, we'll kind of see how that kind of plays out for the rest of this time. We don't really, I mean, everything's a what if situation. The big J journos like to run with every little point that they can make. They love to run with, and it's just going to turn into a big ball of chaos. So just everybody set your alarms to wake up whenever something is finalized. Just stop paying attention to anything else is my take. We're all tired of hearing about it. Let's just get to the damn thing. Speaking of getting to the damn thing, let's get to the shenanigans for this week. We've got some real good ones coming up this week. Their usual DFA, designated for assignment. Again, we're replacing the keep trade cut with the Waiver Watch waiting game. I'm going to get involved again this week, and then we'll get to we got a fun waiver wire again. Also another sink pisser submission. So we love to see those. Keep them coming. Of course, we'll end with the Waiver Watch. But start off with a designated for assignment this week. My turn, my question, after Kitty's stupid question last week, also baseball. I'm still pissed off about it. Still not okay with it. But Kitty did get the win last week. Brian Rance, you split a win, so a win to both of you guys. Let's see how you do this week with my question. Sticking with baseball, we're going with a local flair. We got Royals baseball on docket tonight. We've all been craving it.
Uh-oh.
I think it's totally doable. Outside of maybe one name, and we'll get there. We'll certainly
another
get there.
Another roster question from 1989 Royals roster.
Well, this is from 2002 to last season is the timeline we're working with here. I need you to give me the top 8 Royals seasons OPS. So there's 8 players. It's the top 8 seasons of OPS. Single season, individual seasons. So there's 8 players, top of them, and it's since 2002 with a minimum of 400 plate appearances, by the way.
So if two guys had the top 8 season in one season, they're both still eligible, right? They didn't have to lead the team.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There might be the same, like 2 different players from the same season. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally eligible for sure.
2002. That goes way back.
So going back to the
OPS
current standings
from
right now.
2002 to 2019.
Yep.
The
The order is going to go Brian, then Rance, and then Kitty. So Brian, let's go ahead and start with you. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with Jorge Soler.
Soler, 2019 had a 922 OPS. That is correct. Let me switch it up here. Now we are to Rance.
Carlos Beltran.
Beltran, 2003 had a 911 OPS. Well done. Kitty.
I'll throw Mike Sweeney out there.
Sween Dog had the highest of 979 in 2002.
That's surprising.
All right.
All right. So here's where it gets fun.
Good first round. Good first round, everybody.
Those are the top 3 answers.
Yeah, those are the 3. Those are the 3 we should all get, I think.
You did it.
I'm going to go. He had a low average usually, but got top. Mike Moustakas.
Moustakas is not on this list.
Damn it.
Hmm.
That's Brian's first
Thought
option.
maybe with that big home run year, he may have got up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never had the walks.
Right.
We are to rants.
Country breakfast.
Billy Butsky, 882 in 2012, number 5 on the list.
Nice pick.
Winner.
Yep.
Back
I
to
know
Kitty.
you guys all hate him.
I'm going to go with Jermaine Dye.
Jermaine Dye is not on this list.
Ah.
Damn.
That get you with that heightened inflection there on?
Yeah, you made me think I had a good answer, Josh. I really appreciate
Gotcha.
that. Just
Got you good, you fucker.
taking that rug out from under me.
Jermaine Dye's a good guess, though. I think he was pre-2002, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Could have been. Yeah, that makes sense.
Back to Brian.
I'm going to give this answer for rants. Alex Gordon.
I'm sure he's on there. Why else would he pick this question?
That's some sneaky cheese.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
And that is correct. Alex Gordon hit 879 OPS in 2011.
Hero.
Did he really?
One of the greatest Royals of all time.
That's right.
Best ever.
Got 5 of the 8 so far, boys. Let's do
Rance,
this.
we are to you.
I know he didn't hit a lot of home runs, but I thought he took six. What about Haas?
Big Haas, 2017, 882. Well done. Brant's currently in the lead with 3 correct guesses and no options.
That's right.
Great run here. Down to 2 players. Definitely the hardest of the
my
2.
second option.
Kitty?
I got 2 names. About 3 names I've got here. I feel like Kendrys Morales had a really good year for the Royals. Did he get there?
K-Mo just outside of the top 8. I believe he was either 9 or 10, but I love that guess.
I had him on my list.
They were playing some of the prior games. I forgot how important he was to that 2015 run. I loved K-Mo.
Yeah.
He was getting it done.
Brian, back to you.
Gosh dang it.
One option.
God dang it. What about, this is outside the box and probably totally wrong.
Those are my favorite answers.
Oh, God. How about Rookie of the Year, Angel Baroa?
Oh, nice.
Great pull. Not on the list, though.
Thought
is
maybe
your
Rookie of the Year would get it.
Second option.
Not enough power.
Rance, can you pull another one out?
Joanda?
That was
Another
gonna be my
good
next one.
guess. Yep. He
He
is
had a couple
not.
real good years.
Yeah.
No.
He is not on the list, though. I was
Okay.
surprised by how good his numbers were. I can't remember.
He had a big RBI year.
Yeah.
Like a really big one. Like
Over
2004.
100.
Question I saw. Yeah. Was that
Yeah.
somebody's DFA question?
I think somebody had something about RBI.
Yeah, I had that one.
Because that one was really surprised me. But
Like
Rance's
him,
first option,
Sweeney, and Dye all had over 100 that one year that they
Monster
were
year.
really good
Mhm.
offensively.
was that the year that exercised Sweeney's contract options or the clause?
Yeah, probably. That stupid 83 win year, whatever they got.
Yep. Just fluctuates.
squad. Jose Lima just dealing all year.
Yep. Kitty, you're up on your final strike or final
Yeah.
option here. Are we doing hints or does everybody have to be on 2 options? What are we saying here?
God, I'm going to need help, I think.
Yeah.
I can give you a clue here. The remaining 2 players were prior to the 2007 season.
That's worse.
Mm.
I'm going to take a dumb stab here. Johnny Damon?
It's a good stab. It's not correct, but a really good stab. I could see
Not
where
a
your
good
head's
stab
at.
at all.
No.
The shitty stab, if it's not correct. Didn't even hit the guy I was trying to stab. That's how bad of a stab it was.
I mean, I'm not here to critique stabs. I thought it was good. Not a good stabber, apparently. Back to Brian for his final option here. What other hint could I give you?
Prior to 06, you said?
07.
07.
Before 07. So
Damn.
2002 to 2006.
I said, damn.
Give me his number.
We got two numbers.
Between 0 and 50. Where's this number?
2007. God, I can barely even remember any roster guys on that. I remember we had just an atrocious pitching staff back then.
Oh, I just thought of the guy. I think I just thought maybe I had that one.
Like Mike McDougal and Ambulance Burgos.
Mad Mike
Burgos,
McDougal
yeah.
was a bad motherfucker.
And Andy Cisco.
Cisco
Oh,
Train.
that tall drink of water. Everyone's like, this guy's going to figure it out at some point and be dominant. Except for that figured out part, he was dominant.
Because we had a decent first base year, I feel like.
Ken Harvey.
Right.
He was
Falling over
Amber
a
right.
Hamlin
tarp.
was way before that.
Yeah, Bob Hamlin was like a decade before that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hartable
So
still around by 02?
I'll
or
give you
not?
both of their
No.
jersey numbers.
Gone.
Okay, so that's probably will help then if you
This
smile
one's not
about
going to
it.
be the one. It was, yeah, he's like, okay, it doesn't matter.
So one of them wore the number 18. One of them wore the number 24.
I know that one.
Okay. It did help somebody, apparently.
Yep. I
Both
could
of them-
totally.
Both of them wore a lot of numbers. Let's just go with that.
You got anything, BK? Spur
God.
anything off you?
That didn't
I
really
gotta
help me at all.
guess.
18. I mean, Johnny Damon wore it.
He's already been eliminated.
And 24 was Jermaine Dye, and he's already been said. Shoot.
I'm going to need an answer from you.
Shit. Jose Guillen.
Jose Guillen. Not on this list.
He wore 11, I believe.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was 11.
He's
Brian-
probably before that.
Brian also out.
You could have told me he wore 18. I would have believed you. I don't know.
Rance is the only one left. He's got
Which
2
one's
strikes
Berger?
against. He
Raul
has
Ibanez. Raul
officially won.
Ibanez.
That's
Raul
number 24,
Ibanez
right?
is correct. In 2002, he had an 883.
Good pull.
Nice.
24.
Forgot all about. He
And
had a
I'm,
great year. Yeah.
So
and
one.
I'm going to take
Yep.
Emil Brown.
He was
That
35.
That is a great guess. I love that guess.
Not a meal, not a snack. It's a meal.
Not in there. Not in this
Okay.
list.
Well, now
You
No, I
gonna
don't.
tell us what part of the field he played in?
he
Probably
played
not.
right field, didn't he?
Did Mark Quinn play in 2002 still? Was
No,
he
I'm
already off
talking,
the
I'm
team?
talking about our Josh's hint.
The
Yeah,
last
still
number
your last
18.
option. 24.
I mean,
Christian Cologne.
the hint is what didn't he play?
Oh,
Utility boy.
utility guy.
There's your hint.
David Howard. David Howard.
David
played-
Howard was number 6.
Gee, look at this, bringing them all on me.
That is
Then you
not
look
a
real
name
stupid.
I recognize.
What's a utility guy? Shoot.
I worry that hint should be too obvious.
It can't be Matty Stairs, can it?
No.
Did,
I mean, he did play a lot of.
does
I think he
Maris-
pitched too, didn't he?
what number?
He had a-
What's not number 18? I don't know anyone's number, so I'm just gonna throw out names.
I don't
You guys
remember
can
their
tell me.
utility guy from back then.
Oh yeah, because 2007.
What position didn't he play? Oh my God.
Maybe I could tell you the positions he didn't play.
Pitcher.
He did not pitch.
Catcher.
He did not catch. He did not play second base. He did not play shortstop.
Corner guy.
Corner player. Dean Palmer.
That's all he did. Played every other position.
Oh, he was not going to play the center field.
I don't know. I mean,
Righty or lefty?
I have no idea.
Yeah, plenty
Yeah,
of
let's just
options, plenty of
keep
clues.
needling clues out of
I'm
it.
trying to build this picture in my brain, Josh.
Keep pulling clues.
He played. He wore the number 24 prior to the 2007 season. Played all over the place. I mean, somebody's out there. There's a sink pisser out there just screaming his name.
Higgins
Margaret
is-
Zalonic.
No.
He was too much second base for him.
Rudsy.
I got nothing for you,
I
Ranch.
got
I have no name.
I got
I
nothing
have
either.
no name.
Everybody's blank. You want to take a shot in the dark then?
No, because I've already named all those names.
So you
And
just
I don't even have another name.
all right. Well, we'll
Ken
chalk
Griffey
this,
Jr.
We'll chalk this up as a loss. Tea bags.
Oh, no.
Martin.
Mark Tiemann did that.
Dang it.
He hit
No way.
874 and I believe
What?
434 plate appearances.
He never hardly hit any
2006.
home runs, did he?
No.
How juice was this ball? What was it? When he hit 50
How many home
doubles?
runs
Jesus.
did he hit that year? 18 tops?
I might have
Yeah,
put
he-
John Buck ahead of him on my list.
439 plate appearances. He had 18 home runs. He had an OBP
T-bag.
of
434 health.
357.
He was walking quite a bit then.
Yep.
Yep.
517
Oh,
slug.
my.
How
I
many
never would've got
doubles?
that guy.
How many
18
doubles
home
did he
runs,
have?
21 doubles, and 7 triples.
That's nothing.
That's
team had to
pathetic,
be
Tom Bates.
complete. That team had to be complete dog shit.
I believe that was the season I saw him hit an inside the park home run.
Yeah, so he had 17 real home runs. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You
I was
knew
I
what
was
you were doing with that question.
I was in the all you can eat seats and I was stuffed full of nachos and soda and hot dogs. Just jumping my stupid fat gut up and down trying to wave him home. And it worked.
I mean, how crazy is it that Whit Merrifield's had 2 great seasons last 2 years and not as good as Mark Tien's?
Mark Tien.
That is just awful.
He played all over the place,
Tien.
baby.
He did play all the corner positions. And he got some center field in that season too, huh?
No? Nope. No center field.
No
Wait,
center
he
field,
got center
just,
field earlier in his career.
Okay.
And I'm actually really shocked that with just what was that 46 extra base hits
Extra base
and
hits
439 plate appearances. He still put up those numbers.
Yeah.
That team had to lose well over 100 games.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
need to hear the truth from Higgins and the feedback on Twitter if he was screaming about Mark Tien because I still
That's
can't
true.
see it. I can't see it. He knows his
That's
Royals.
that's the one person I know that would, or I think that would have that answer ready for it.
And
I
like
think
you guys
every
said,
Royals fan had to convince themselves that Mark Tien was just trash.
Yep.
Yeah, that's also true.
The original list I had was I made that 400 plate appearances cutoff because Mark Tien made it a little bit more interesting of a question. But if I had extended that to 500 plate appearances, his name would have been wiped off, and Hunter Dozier would have been in there from last season with I think it was like 873 maybe.
Okay, so he was just below 10 on that.
Yep. So I mean, I'm glad it probably would have still worked out if I had gone with that list because you guys didn't say Hunter
Yeah,
Dozier.
I don't think
but,
we would have got to him. I don't think.
but
No.
I also couldn't.
That's a
have,
hell of a year.
I mean,
That's a hell of a year from him last year. Then.
Yep. He had a good
I didn't
year.
realize he had that good.
I'd be curious to see what he's able to do when this season starts back up, if it's a rebound or a continuation of that momentum, or if he kind of slows down. But
Right.
I'm ready to sign
Budding
him to an
superstar.
extension. Yep, I love
Right.
me some Hunter Dozier for sure.
He looks so much like Alex Gordon too. KC fans can just keep rolling into the same looking player. Just keep.
He's
their
a handsome
favorites alive.
devil.
but he'll be much better offensively.
His defense has a little bit of ground to cover to get to Gordo's level, but we'll move on here to the next shenanigan, which is the Waiver Watch Waiting Game. Like I said, I'm going to jump into it here. We've each got a movie or a TV show that we may or may not have spoken about prior to this, but I wanted to jump in on this. So I'm going to give mine first, and you guys can guess the audience score of them, and we'll kind of go from there. But my first one of my I really love this show. The League. We kind of spoke about fantasy football, fantasy baseball. League is a show based around that. A great cast. Really, really good stuff from the cast there. Yeah, what do you think? And I'm gonna go with the final season. I should specify there.
Okay.
The final season of The League.
I'm in.
Got it.
Let's start with Rance. What do you think the audience gave the final season of The League?
I put down 87%.
87. Okay.
Always thought that show was hysterically funny.
Yep. Agreed with you completely. Some really, really good side character build up there. Ralphie, one of my favorite characters of all time. Kitty, what do you think?
Rafi is one of the greatest characters ever created, ever put on film. Just
yeah.
hilarious, nonstop. Just right, the first thing he comes in, first episode he came in, never disappointed when he was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go, since it's the last season, I'm gonna go low. I went with 62. One of these fans are just gonna be
shit
tired of it. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, Kitty's not good at the audience scores.
I'll probably get the critic score on that one, couple off, but the audience will be all over it still. So I'm sure I'll blow this one.
Okay, Brian.
I mean, you may very well be onto something there, because it seems like audiences do that from time to time when shows are multiple seasons long. And I will say the only thing that I never liked about this show was the forced cameos. They brought in some of the most stone-faced actor football players in history, and it just totally just drain a scene completely. And it just didn't need it. It didn't add anything. I guess it gave them some clout by saying we have real NFL players coming on here. But other than that, the show was just hilarious. So I'm going to stick with, let's say it finished high, 78.
78.
I thought the one cameo I thought was the best one was Vernon Davis. Acted, looked like seemed like he could be an actual actor.
Yep.
Or at least
JJ Watt wasn't bad.
Not destroy a scene at least. But I thought Vernon was the best when I just remember back to the show. But yeah, a lot of those guys would just kill the scene. It's like there's no energy to it. There's no
Adrian Peterson was pretty solid when he was on there.
Yeah. It's true.
So the critics gave this an 81%.
Whoa.
The audience
shocking.
Did not give them that. The audience was quite a bit lower. Audience score was a 45.
Holy shit.
Whoa. That's crazy.
For reference here, that was the only season of the show that got less than an 82% from the audience.
What happened?
I'm finished. I'm finished.
For once, the critics got it right, and the audience totally blows.
Yeah, how about that?
Damn.
How about that?
I'm absolutely fucking finished. I'm 41 point difference, 41%. It's over.
You're gonna have to get close one of these.
I got 42%. You gave it a 87, correct?
Yeah. So what? My mouth was off by one.
You just hit two of the next three on the nose, Rance. Just hit two of the next three on the nose.
All right, bonuses. So let's go to Kitty. Kitty got the closest there. Kitty, let's go with your show.
All right, I'm gonna go back to either late '90s or early 2000s.
Of course you are.
Movie Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say Drop Dead Fred.
It'd been way funnier if I had said that. But Drop Dead Gorgeous with a kind of like a mockumentary style filming of a Minnesota beauty pageant. Kirsten Dunst, Kirstie Alley.
Denise Richards, right?
Denise Richards was the other main lead. Allison Janney, Ellen Barkin.
Ooh. God, I know nothing about this.
Star-studded.
Star-studded cast. Yeah, there you go. What are you going to do?
Oh.
So
Yes.
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Brian with the
Right.
short whine there. Oh.
A
As I
whimper,
typed in-
more like a whimper.
I typed in a number that I don't believe in at all.
You guys everyone good?
I'm in.
I'm in.
I guess. Fuck, I'm
We'll let
finished.
Josh go first since he didn't pick last round.
I feel like this movie is absolute dog shit. Both critics and audience. So I gave it a 39.
Wow.
All right.
What a swing this could be.
BK,
Vance.
you're second place. Let's go with you.
Okay, I just blindly went higher than I probably should have, hoping people liked it. 71.
Okay. Rance, how do you feel?
I put down 74%, and I feel pretty shitty because I'm.
You should have whimpered when you put it in.
All right. Well,
Kitty, what were your
Got it.
thoughts about this, by the way? Because I'm very interested.
I think this movie is hilarious.
That's too bad.
I think it's fantastic.
I feel really good about my score all of a sudden.
So there were two guesses that got so close to one of the scores.
Well,
Oh,
it wasn't
that's
mine
good
then.
for us.
Or the audience gave it a 75.
Oh, good job.
So Rance almost had it on the nose. BK just
So I'm
Josh,
back
you got-
in it. Is
you're
what you're
back in
saying.
it. Yes. 1 point difference. Josh, you got close to the critics. They had that at 46.
It
The
would have been
audience loved
such
it.
like a juicy moment to nail the
You to pick the
so
critics
far
score.
away from
Yeah.
the audience score.
Yep.
Not a great start for
So Josh,
old
36 for Josh.
Yeah, not great. Not great.
So yeah, really close match now. Once I below this pick, we'll be right on. Everyone will be running tight with each other.
Let's go with Rance here. Rance, what's your pick?
Well, this is a recent watch, one that I really loved. We talked about it. Togo. Bring it to me, fellas. What does the
Togo.
audience think about old Togo?
Togo, Balto is a fraud.
Piece of shit, Balt.
Third
I'm in.
consecutive week that Togo gets a shout out on the Clearing Waivers podcast.
All right, I'm written in.
Who's up?
Uh,
I'm
guess
sorry, who's up?
probably
first?
Kitty.
I've got the least. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't imagine
Kitty.
an audience is gonna hate a movie about sled dogs and some heroic sled dogs at that. So I went with 90.
90.
Okay.
What was that Cuba Gooding? Was that 8 Below?
Sled
Or was-
dogs. I think
Or
it
was
I
that
thought that-
literally Sled
yeah.
Dogs?
Paul Walker
That
was
was-
in 8 Below.
That
That's right.
damn movie made me cry. That Paul Walker one.
I'd imagine so. There's probably some stuff
Sled Dog is probably
sled dogs hidden.
a pretty good one to bring up in this shit. Brian, I think you were actually I'm next closest, I believe.
I think 36 or 37.
Kitty, I was in the same boat. I went 81. Brian?
I think it's going to be high, too. People love dogs. 91.
91.
Okay, so we got Kitty at 90, Josh at 81, BK at 91. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
The critic score on Balto, 91%.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, critic score.
Was this Togo or Balto, though? Because you said Balto there.
Togo. I know what
Okay.
I said, but it's Togo. I've got it written down. I'm
Just
sorry.
making sure.
Thinking how much a piece of shit that Balto was.
He's even
Got the
stealing
critics
clout in
nailed
your
it. Look at
mind.
that.
It's a real problem.
Tell me I nailed both of them.
The audience score gives Togo 96%.
Woo! Audience isn't getting fooled either.
That puts me in.
This is a tough week for
All
me.
right. BK's got second place wrapped up.
Hey, anything could happen. I hope Brian's bringing some crazy movie in here.
I thought it was fitting this week. I'm going back 2011, Moneyball.
I actually thought about this.
Brad Pitt,
Okay.
baseball movie about the Oakland Athletics.
Yep.
Let's see here.
I gotta
Man.
hold this.
All right. Who's first?
All right, I'm in.
I think Kitty is first.
I will go with. I have no idea. Didn't see it. Just read some stuff about it. Kind of shoehorned a stupid kid in the movie. I'm gonna go 72.
Okay, 72.
Rance, you are ahead of me.
If I can remember right, I think there was some Oscar-worthy talk about it, or somebody was up for an Oscar for this.
Jonah Hill was.
I think. But
If he didn't,
94%.
did he win it?
Say that
Oh
again.
yeah, he was.
94%.
94.
Mm-hmm.
All righty.
Yeah, I think Jonah Hill either won it or he was nominated for it, but also Brad Pitt was in it and Chris Pratt was in it. And it was very good. I said 96.
Mm.
Wow.
They have blown this one hardcore.
Moneyball with the critics. 94%.
Oh, look at another right answer.
We got two nails.
Another.
Wow, look at you
Good
guys.
stuff.
I've got to be back in it, don't I, by now?
You're
just
in the
behind.
game.
You're 38.
You're still behind. You're still behind Kaiser.
It's just a matter of how far off is Kitty.
Yep.
Come on, audience. Be in the 70s. In the 70s, audience. 65 to 80. Come on.
No way.
The audience.
No way. Yeah.
No way.
86%.
Oh, dang it. Just too
Which
high for me.
means, I believe, with my 5-point deduction, that Kitty and I tied.
I thought I had you winning. I miscalculated here.
I'll take the win.
33, 37. I thought you had 32 points.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. Because I took the deduction because I had the audience score in there.
I have myself. Oh, you added 5 back under yours for the
Yeah.
miss of the score. Yeah. So I thought I had you by 32, 37, 38, and Josh, last place.
61.
We'll just leave yours.
That's tough.
We could have let people believe you got 39. They weren't keeping track at home.
I like to be
was real
honest.
close.
I like to be
Yep.
honest too.
Well
done.
it's good round.
Yep.
Man, that was close.
It's a
Rand's
good.
coming in hot after that first movie.
Yep. Two correct answers too. I mean,
Yeah.
That's huge.
I mean,
was
we're
difference
showing
maker right there.
progress, collective progress here.
And we both hit critics, and it wasn't Kitty that hit the critic.
That's a shocking revelation. That's true.
He's really fell off in this game, if you ask me.
Yep.
If you asked me to, I'd say the same thing.
Well, let's
Getting worked every week now.
let's keep rolling here with the ever popular waiver wire, the draft portion of the week. Like I said earlier, we have another sink pisser suggestion that we're rolling with again. Last week we had the best uniforms. Anand, shout out. I didn't give you a shout out on the show last week, but we appreciate the suggestion. Great stuff there. Hotly contested on Twitter. We had a couple solid critiques of our list there, but moving on this week to our dream TV show crossovers. Doesn't happen a whole lot anymore. It seems to be happening back when the TGIF shows, which is probably a draft in and of itself. We need to get on board with that coming up at some point. But seemed like that was kind of an all forgotten thing where TV shows used to cross over every now and then. So we're going to kind of do some dream scenario TV show crossovers here. The results of the polls last week, also another close one. This was a battle between me and Kitty again, and I did take home the third consecutive W. Shout out to the Sink Pissers. I'm either doing something right, my pandering is just locked in, or I'm just I have the best taste, obviously.
I guess I love. Did you take the Chiefs red?
I did get the red on Reds and the Charlotte Hornets and the Bulls and
It's all those dumb 90s kids that thought the Charlotte Hornets were so good.
Obviously.
Dumb
The
starter
Eagles,
jackets.
the Eagles and their
Idiots.
popularity. I mean,
I think it was the
popular
Charlotte
team.
Hornets starter
The Chiefs
jacket.
have
And
some of the worst uniforms.
That red on red was sexy. You need to
What a dumb thing you just said.
Yep, that was the dumbest thing ever.
You apologize right now.
Coming from a
I just-
Cowboys fan.
They have some of the best, honestly, and I didn't pick them. So
I know
Nah.
that. I mean, that in and of itself, you're a fan of them, and you didn't pick them. So, I mean, I don't know what else you need to see. But
I knew it wouldn't get me any votes.
well, sometimes you just got to go with your heart.
I wasn't a big fan of people chiming in with the Yankees. Like, those things are so cool.
Gross.
Trash.
I will.
Stripes go on suits.
They are timeless and they are legendary, and they are assholes. And they
Yep.
can
Put your name on it. Put your name on the jersey. We don't.
Yeah.
Quit being assholes. Put your name on your jersey.
Wear
Real
facial
Schlansky
hair.
move in that franchise. Yeah, grow a beard. Schlansky's. New York Schlansky's. Done.
Mhm.
New York
Coined it.
Slanskys. I like that. So I'm going to go first. Kitty is second. And I think Rance and Brian tied. And since Brian had an earlier draft pick and did less with it, you'll be going last. So it'll be me, then
Fine.
Kitty, then Rance, then Brian.
Okay.
Rance is super excited about his placing. Clearly. No disgust there.
This-
So let's get into it. My first pick. When I was coming up with the suggestions, I kind of gave this as one of the examples. I'm glad I get to pick it with my first one. I just finished this last season of Ozark. Very good per usual. And I would love to see some kind of crossover with Justified. Loved Justified back in the day with Oliphant, Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins.
Walton.
But I just want Goggins to be the new guy that wants to get a piece of the action, and then Oliphant comes in as the new Fed that wants to bring everybody down. So give me some Ozark and Justified crossover event. I would love that.
Yep.
I haven't seen Ozark, but I'm 100% in on Justified.
Yep, they're completely different shows.
Right. No, yeah. Different tones, different everything, but hey,
Yep.
it'll work.
Yep.
Law and
I would
order
be-
on one side, chaos on the other. You should be good.
That's right. I mean, tales old as time. Go to Kitty. Kitty, what's your first pick?
I mean, good thing we discussed this before we drafted about using the same TV show. If no one else picks your exact match, you can still have it.
Yep.
I decided to combine Justified with Fargo season 1.
Ooh.
Give
Sexy.
me Billy Bob Thornton and Timothy Oliphant going blow for blow.
Oh,
on
that
the
would be
show.
good.
That to me that should be TV perfection for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So that would be that's my number one.
See, Goggins was a great opposite to Oliphant for all that
Oh, he was.
Justified run.
Yeah.
But Billy Bob could definitely be just as good for sure. I like that pick a lot. Rance,
I like
what
it.
do you?
I picked, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, Dexter, and he's going to be hunting down old Joe Goldberg from You. Have you guys seen You?
Uh-huh. I watched the first
Yes.
season.
I have not seen that yet. That
That
sounds awesome.
creepo.
Joe's a real creep. He's been killing people, getting away with it, and nobody can get one past old Dexter. So
I love
that's my collaboration.
till the last 5 minutes.
That's really outside the box and great.
Yeah,
I
love
hadn't
it.
even neither one of those shows was on my thought process. That's perfect though.
They
That's
always
a
did-
great crossover for lots of shows.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They did a great job setting it up to where you hated the person he was killing too. So, I mean, I
Oh,
hated that
God.
guy in You, so I wanted to kill him too.
Like it. Brian, you're up for the turn.
Every season of Dexter is top notch except for last season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really blew the end.
Yeah, they
people
did.
didn't like the Colin Hanks one as much, but I
That
was okay with that. one
that
still.
John Lithgow season was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Lithgow
Lithgow
was
was-
that was the
Lithgow
best
was
one.
fantastic.
All right, I'm getting my number one on the big board. It's two.
Trash
Classic.
TVs.
Nope,
Oh,
we're going
Love Island
comedies.
and
We're going comedies, and this usually comes into conversation of you've watched them both. Which one do you prefer? and it's Parks and Rec with The Office.
Yeah.
And these dynamics are already set up from the beginning to be great. I mean, Michael Scott against Ron Swanson. You've got Andy Dwyer.
That's a good matchup.
Jim from the Office is using Andy to just poke at Dwight Schrute the entire time in the office because he's a dumb animal and he can just make him just drive him nuts. You got Tom Haverford driving Stanley insane with his nonstop energy, and Stanley just wants everybody to shut the hell up and get away from him. I mean, I think you could mix that cast in, which are juggernauts on their own, and it would make one of the greatest TV shows you've ever seen.
We're talking about late season The Office, Robert California and Donna Meagle together. I think that combo would be really good too.
I love it. I mean,
I had already jumped ship by the time California showed up.
I'd say go back for California. California is an underrated character.
All right, pick number 2, and I'm sticking with the comedy. I'm going to my favorites.
Stay away from my shows.
Eastbound and Down meets Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, God, that's amazing.
My premise is that the gang thinks that Kenny Powers will bring a lot of cachet if they add him to the staff and to make him a bartender. He's down and out. He's done with baseball. He needs something to do. He's going to be the face of the Patty's Pub. And so he's just bartending, just ripping on these idiots all day long. We bring in Stevie as a regular at the bar, so he's constantly getting shit on by Kenny Powers. I think that would be a fantastic crossover.
I just think that at that point, Charlie and Stevie become best friends because they're both just get shit on every second of every day.
Great
call. So they're now pairing up and having ridiculously stupid adventures.
Maybe Stevie becomes the new Mac and gets completely manipulated into doing everything for everyone.
Oh, man.
And I mean, you could really play it up too to where they bring in Kenny Powers thinking he's really going to move the needle, and they figure out that they're the only fans that he ever had, and nobody knew comes into the bar. And so it's just constantly them just going back and forth with no people in the bar, just like
Kenny
always.
Powers and Dennis go back and forth would be fantastic in and of itself.
That's such a good idea.
Huh? That's a good one. Well done.
I forgot about Eastbound and Down.
There's so many TV shows.
That's the problem. I paralysis by analysis.
Yep.
Too many shows.
Rance, you're up.
All right. So I took Ozark with Marty Byrde. Then I combined with USA District Attorney Chuck Rhodes from Billions, with all Marty doing all his money laundering. I think Chuck Rhodes is a great character on Billions. I mean, they have some great one-liners on there, and just Marty's so meek and just never really fight back that I think that in Chuck's on his case. So that's what I'm going with.
I like it.
I still haven't watched any Billions.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's got
Agent
the
Brody.
guy that I don't know his name, but Brody that was on land. Yep, and he's pretty good. Bobby Axelrod is his
Giamatti.
name. Yep, and Paul Giamatti. Yep.
That's good. Billions is probably on my list pretty soon too. Kitty?
All right. I'm going to go the comedy world now as well, and I'm going to add a couple comedies at the workplace. One of Rance's favorite shows, Workaholics, and then combining that with news radio. Just throwing those three guys into the office at news radio just seems to me that would just be hilarious. These guys
right in with the Joe Rogan character, right?
Joe Rogan and Andy Dick's character, they work out pretty well together.
Yep. You throw News
Radio,
Adam and Blake
just
in there.
Tormenting Dave Foley every second of every day. Just be real treat to watch.
I mean, that may be one I have to go back and check out. I didn't watch News Radio ever.
Yeah.
It's a really good show. I mean, 5 seasons, 4 with Phil Hartman and 1 was out, and first 4 are so good that it's worth watching. Just those first 4 is enough.
Put it on the list. Rance brought up Workaholics last week, and I have been just devouring Workaholics. I'm on the 4th season right now, starting at season 1. So good. So good.
I just season, and not to get off, but God, when they try to befriend that child molester that was on the Beaver chat,
Beaver
God
Beaver hole.
Almighty.
My name's Topher. You guys want to go to the
It's
penthouse?
the penthouse. It's the penthouse.
It's like the Playboy Mansion, only way more doper.
They let you piss on the floor.
Yeah, Workaholics is fantastic. Great stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
My next, I'm going to go 2 picks, both from the comedy/dramedy realm. Brian, I liked your pick with Parks and Rec, and I'm going to go crossover event with the Kroll Show.
Okay.
If you remember, I can see those characters running amok and Pawnee interacting with all the Parks and Rec cast, but the main event that I think that we need to get is John Ralphio matching up with the Rich Dicks. I think that would be
Definitely.
a trio so good. Turtley. Get John Ralphio and his sister with the Rich Dicks, and I'm totally in on that show. Love the Kroll Show.
Yeah,
That needs
good.
to come back. Third on my draft board, also It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I need a crossover. Let's switch it up to Chi-Town. Let's go Always Sunny crosses over with Shameless. Because I think the antics between the gang and the Gallaghers would be fantastic. Because Frank Gallagher just automatically fits right in with the gang.
And they can be rivals with the Alibi.
Yes.
Yeah. Have
Bar
It'd
Wars.
be like the old Cheers when you got Cheers versus what was that other guy's other bar name? Can't remember who. God dang it.
Frazier.
I don't know.
They had he was inside the Cheers bar. They had a rival bar. I cannot remember. That'd be a perfect rehash of that. It'd be so good.
Yeah, I think there's so many different storylines that you could pull from getting the gang involved with that crew on Shameless. I'm very much in on that show as well. I like it. Going back to Kitty.
All right, we're going to go down to Miami. We're going to take Nip Tuck, and we're going to add the Schitt's Creek crew to Miami.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that the veterinarian's going to become a plastic surgeon for animals, and that's going to be somehow a rival of the Christian Troy and Sean McNamara, Nip Tuck. And then, like Dr. Armand from Kroll Show.
Sure.
And then just have with Moira Rose and Johnny Rose down there giving back in the high lifestyle.
Yeah.
Add a little more levity to some Nip Tuck action.
Yes. I have not seen any Nip Tuck, but it certainly seemed like a dark take on a not so dark industry.
It was like it kind of had a weird ebb and flow. Sometimes some episodes were easy breezy, and then others were like, "Oh, there's a serial killer on the loose. What's going on?" Very bizarre.
Dexter's on the lookout for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Back to rants.
Always.
Rants, what's your third pick?
Littering and
Gotta go with ramming up for bar rescue in 24 hours to hell.
Ooh.
That's
Yep.
You get Taffer on there, you get Ramsey on there, both just absolutely berating people, and it just didn't make for any better TV than that. I mean,
Nobody's self-esteem is safe in that duo.
Taffer's ripping the front of the house. Ramsey's degrading the people in the back in the kitchen, which don't know how to do shit, and he's just they're teaming up to revive a bar, trying to make a new menu, and they're just destroying people early.
And really, from a Clearing Waivers podcast standpoint, that might be the correct answer.
yeah.
I would watch so many of those episodes. Like, that would be appointment television to me.
If you could somehow add Robert Irvine to that,
Yeah.
because he's just so intimidating, and he'll get in your ass too.
Yeah. I feel like he's trying to be like Ramsey, but he does got some pipes. God damn that guy. He's
He's physically intimidating.
I can't imagine.
Show. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Taffer is too, but he's always got the tight polo on, just ripping out of it.
I haven't seen Irvine in like a decade.
Yeah.
Well, he's back on. He's back on.
On what?
Cooking channel doing rescues again.
Nice.
They just started that show back up, so he's out there again, just destroying people.
I like that.
So keep that in mind.
Give me that dirty trifecta all day.
Dirty trifecta.
Brian.
Okay, so when you brought up this idea, in my mind automatically goes to finding TV shows that complement each other and rivalries. And so my third pick is going to be a rivalry. And I'm going to take two of my favorite shows from back in the day, and I'm going to pick up the cast from Laguna Beach, and I'm going to drop them into Dillon, Texas for Friday Night Lights and watch how that plays out. And I can't wait for all the quotes from Buddy Garrity about these California hippies coming to town. And you create this natural rivalry between Steven and Riggins. And you got, does Lila Garrity go Team Kristen, Team LC? Maybe she doesn't go either one. Maybe it's just a three-way fight. I would watch that all day, every day.
What the hell would Steven be able to bring to the table against Riggins?
He's a pussy.
Big
Girls
pussy.
like him, though.
Not if Riggins is in the picture.
If they're going for the same girl and she prefers the city boy.
No.
Gosh, I get to write the story, okay?
The non-drunk, she's trying to go for the guy that's not an alcoholic at age 16. That might help too.
The bigger rivalry is probably with Saracen and Steven.
I don't know. Saracen was
QB1's a big puss.
Saracen's a bit too timid. He's a bit too timid.
Steven would run him over.
Boy, I remember those Mizzou days when we would leave Mizzou games at halftime because they were getting their shit stomped, and we'd go watch Laguna Beach.
I think Darren Sproles usually had a part of that.
Yep.
Terrence Newman returning kicks.
Yep. Those were
you guys ready
days.
to go at halftime?
LB is about beyond.
What was that goober's name? Talon? Wasn't there a guy named Talon on there?
Yep.
Yes, there was.
Real dipshit.
Real goober.
Brian, that's a great name.
You're kicking off the fourth round.
Fourth round, I'm going back to complimentary. And I'm going to take Jack Bauer from 24 and drop him into Homeland. Because it feels like Homeland sometimes kind of lacks a little action and some gunfights and some rebel dude. Like he'd be like a little bit like the Peter Quinn role. But Jack Bauer doesn't listen to anybody. They tell him to do something, and he does the opposite, but he still accomplishes at the end of the day. So I think that dynamic, because Carrie's already kind of like that, but she's not really a sniper-type person. She's more working the brains of the operation and twisting it up, putting it outside.
She's pulling the strings.
Yeah, I'm dropping Jack Bauer in there and just seeing it play out. Probably mayhem, but I want to see Jack Bauer save the day once again.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, it's good.
Pretty solid.
Yeah,
because I was right.
Homeland needs some. It needs a badass.
Yep.
I was right on the same lines. It's my pick, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I put Jack Bauer teaming up with Jack Ryan. Those Jacks.
Those Jacks.
And they're just fucking up terrorism left and right. Just punishing terrorists.
Oh, God.
Those
back-to-back Jacks.
Those two forces.
That's a great TV. That's title.
Jacks.
Found it.
The fucking mega powers.
Terrorism.
I need to say
a
more.
chance. Yep, that's fantastic.
Finished all of it.
Oh, that's good.
I also thought about Narcos with Jack Ryan, because they kind of that season 2 of Jack Ryan was pretty similar to Narcos type of thing.
That'd be good too.
That would be good.
Kitty,
So there you have it.
your final pick.
All right, I'm going to
Back-to-back Jacks.
go back to some old show here. One old show, one new show. I'm gonna take Boy Meets World
Okay.
and corrupt those kids with the 2 females from Pen 15.
really learn
I
things.
just- we need Boy Meets World to up the ante a little quicker on that show.
Topanga
So
doesn't
let's get,
stand a chance.
yeah, Topanga's out of the picture. Although I think both those girls
She's-
would have been all about all
done.
Sean. Sean would have been the prize for those two. So I want to put those two together. Let's
Those
get
two,
some
those
more
seem
action
more
inside
like
Boy Meets-
Minkus territory.
Minkus needs some action too. That's true.
Yep.
What wasn't Sean's name? His real name like Ryder Strong. What a
Ryder Strong.
badass
That's
name
exactly
that
that's
was.
exactly it. That is a good name.
That is good.
Got to be a stage name.
Probably more than likely, I would think so.
I
Gotta
don't
be
His
out there.
born name.
I don't think it was.
Credit to his parents then. He was destined for greatness.
Well done.
Well, I'm gonna close this out here with a little bit different. I went reality TV on my final pick here. One of my favorite reality TV shows is Naked and Afraid, and we've referenced these people to cross over with them, which is I'm gonna need to see the Kardashians in Naked and Afraid.
Oh,
Just
no.
drop them out in the middle of the Serengeti and just say go.
God,
Just
they'd get
just
rescued
go.
in 12 minutes.
That's I want to see. I want to see where that cutoff is because I think it might be 12 minutes.
I mean, I'd probably tune into that one.
I'd tune into that for sure.
You'd have to adjust the rules to where they can't leave after like 12 minutes. They'd have to stay for 3 days or something.
Right, force them to. You can't get rescued immediately. Yeah.
At least today.
At least somewhat of a less dangerous locale than what they send the usual contestants to.
Hell, make them do their backyard. They wouldn't last 3 days. You can't go inside. Now live in your backyard for 3 days.
I was gonna do somewhat of a temperate place like the Ozarks, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Somewhat
True.
temperate. Just
Yeah.
don't make like cold and hot a super big factor, but just give
Just turn them loose in the boot hill.
Yep, I'd watch that more than likely. It'd be like
what would they eat?
I mean, just about anything at some point. There's a certain point where they just start eating everything,
Hmm.
and I want to see
boys
that.
rescued.
I just want to see that.
Fair.
Some honorable mentions that I had. I also had a Schitt's Creek and a Letterkenny crossover. Very
I
interesting.
need to
in
watch
their
Letterkenny
interaction.
still.
The big wild card on my list was Reno 911
Okay.
and Live PD. I want to see Reno 911 cast like actually questioning suspects, like the ultimate improv show. I want to see them interacting with actual meth heads.
Yes.
I mean,
And you bring in the characters like Swartzen to deal with the real cops.
Yes.
Oh, Swartz. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Terry or whatever his name was.
Yep.
Oh man, that was so good. I had my fifth, if I needed a backup, was a rivalry between the Sopranos and Bosch. With the like Harry Bosch going
there
after
you go.
Tony Soprano, hot,
Yep.
heavy would be good at good TV.
Sopranos and The Wire would probably be pretty solid too.
Well, yeah, you just took the two best TV shows ever made and put them together. That'd be pretty good.
It somehow becomes the worst show of all time.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, where are we going with this storyline?
We cannot lose until we lose. There's no downside until we introduce the downside.
Yeah,
You guys have any other honorable mentions?
My cartoon crossover was the Jetsons and Rick and Morty. That could be fun.
Where it's completely wholesome, and then Rick and Morty's just trying to
It's out of
think that
control.
they're
ridiculousness with
suspecting the worst from them.
multi-universes and just thinking Spacey Sprockets is out to get them.
Yep,
Be good.
good stuff. Rance, did you have any other ones?
I had put down Homeland also with the Americans.
Yep,
yep.
I like that
would
one.
be
there
great.
you go.
Claire Danes is there trying to catch because they're spies, and I thought that would work out good with the Homeland, back
Definitely.
and forth. So that was one that I had. but that was it. I only had 5.
Yep. Say we had a lot of the same shows, but none of the same combinations. So I'd say shallow draft boards this week, but I enjoyed that. That's a very good suggestion. I was very entertained by that. So hopefully you were too. Let's go on to the final shenanigan of the week, the waiver watch. Let's start it off with Kitty. Kitty, it sound like with your new destination, you got some Netflix access this week.
That's right. I had some Netflix for the first time in several months, so took some suggestions from the crowd, watched some things that other people have already watched that I'm going to stay away from here. And one thing I did watch was the Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae movie Lovebirds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to watch that. Yeah,
we finished it last night.
I enjoyed it. It's kind of a weird, as far as trying to put comedy in situations that it's really not shouldn't really have comedy in it, kind of thing. So it's a little interesting there, but it's still got some good laughs in it and some interesting, good work by Kumail and Issa Rae. So it's definitely an enjoyable movie. It's kind of a stretch on the premise, but still enjoyable.
I like that movie more when it was date night.
I haven't seen it. I never saw it. Oh, right. I've seen parts, bits and pieces of that. Is it the exact same thing? Okay.
Exact same. Yep.
Really?
It's more of like they're in kind of a 4-year relationship in Lovebirds, whereas date night is more like a tired married couple.
The marriage, yeah. So basically, this is the they just remade it like the Can't Buy Me Love too.
Yep.
God, what was the remake of that with Nick Cannon?
Drumline.
Dare you?
Great movie.
I can't remember. I can't think of the title, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they've done it again.
I agree. Kumail and Issa Rae did have some really, really funny back and forth. That was well worth a watch in and of itself.
Right.
So yeah, Lovebirds pretty solid. Still recommend it, but
no Wahlberg in Lovebirds, but
no Wahlberg. That's no Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot was the girlfriend.
I think
right?
I think that is her early Gal Gadot.
Yep.
I'll watch that.
No Gal Gadot in Lovebirds. Brian, let's go to you. What's your waiver watch for the week?
I watched Lance Part 1 Sunday night, the 30-30 on Lance Armstrong. I'm just kind of fascinated with where we are as sports fans, how we cover them in an age where cheating was well known now, and how we treat certain players versus others, certain riders versus others. And, I mean, he makes the perfect villain because he was just a cocky prick his entire career, still is to this day.
He was a prick.
I mean, he's done it.
Is he saying, like, I still didn't cheat to this day? Or what is he? How is
No. He's admitted to it.
He just said everyone did it, so who cares?
Kind of, yeah. Yep. And, I mean, they point out how the main drug that everyone was taking, even after they had their crackdown on doping, they still couldn't test for that thing that everybody was using. So it's like, you got to take stuff with a grain of salt because you don't know. You're only seeing one side of the story, as we've talked about before with the Jordan thing. But I still think it was very interesting to get his perspective on it, and it kind of tells a lot of his backstory that most people probably don't know about his growing up and stuff, and how he was at 15-year-old, he was kind of a dominant triathlete. He started out as a swimmer and had incredible endurance with swimming and bike riding. And then when he figured out that he was dominating in bike riding, he gravitated toward that, obviously. And he's still to this day kind of an unapologetic prick. But I still think it makes for good TV and hearing the stories about the behind the scenes type of thing. And they're interviewing all of his former teammates, stuff like that. So it's a lot of good information, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. And part 2 is coming this next coming Sunday, and that'll be the end of it.
Nice. Oh, it's 2. I was going to ask how many there were.
Kind of cheapens his scene in Dodgeball a little bit.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the thing.
And his mom would forge his birth certificate.
That's what hurts me the most.
His mom forged his birth certificate?
For these triathlons, like he was below age to compete. and they forged his birth certificate.
Well,
Did you not pick up on that?
I didn't watch it, so
I didn't pick up on that part of the birth
If
certificate.
he's Danny Almonte too, Jesus, this guy's a real piece of work.
I found it.
Well, go back and watch it, Brian.
I found it interesting that when he got adopted at age 3, they go back and change your birth certificate and wipe away the parent that left. Because he grew up with a guy from age 3 to 14, took his name on his birth certificate.
Or he would have been Lance Gunderson.
Yeah, Gunderson.
Yeah,
He thought that was weak.
Little different.
Lance Thunder Gun, maybe Lance Thunder Gun Express.
Thunder Gun Express. It would have been.
It sounded like he hated his stepdad.
Yeah.
Interesting. I may have to go back and look at that up then.
Well, when his stepdad talked about his what he struggled with, it makes all the sense in the world. The byproduct that you see today, he basically trained him to be a competitive freak, and he said, "What I didn't do enough was tell him I loved him and hugged him." And it's like that's what we got now. It's Lance Armstrong. You'll see a lot of parallels between, especially after watching the Jordan doc about how he created rivalries with people. And he's got his mind. He's like, I hate that guy for no good reason, but in my mind, I need to crush him.
I need to bury him. Interesting.
Yep.
All right. I'll have to look at that. Rance, what's your waiver watch for this week?
Another Netflix movie. I picked The Wrong Missy with David Spade and Morrison's in it. And gosh, what's
Lauren
the girl's
Lapkus.
name? Lauren Lapkus or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a short watch. It's only an hour and a half. Very funny. Got a lot of crude humor in it. I mean, I like crude humor, so I laughed a lot.
Yeah,
That's a solid trio.
I watched that one. I watched that one this weekend too.
The
Lauren
premise
Lapkus.
is he meets this girl named Melissa yeah, go ahead, Kitty.
No, I'm just saying Lauren Lapkus just goes all in into this ridiculous character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just annoying and anything you could think of what you wouldn't want someone to do around your coworkers. She does it tenfold worse. So she's great in it.
It reminds me of like a female version of Farley, like that tag team there, but maybe she's a little bit more over the top, but it's kind of similar.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
interesting.
it's good. It's pretty funny.
The previews of it were, I mean, more or less pretty promising. I mean, you don't go in there with high expectations.
There's some like,
right.
I don't want to say anything about it. I want to give it away. We'll talk after.
Okay.
Rance and I can laugh later.
Let's say watch the Lance Armstrong doc and then liven it up a little bit with The Wrong Missy.
Yep.
I watched my waiver watch for this week was I watched Uncut Gems on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Now Adam Sandler in a
it's on Netflix?
Yeah, it just came on Netflix. Yeah.
Nice.
He was very good in it.
Mm-hmm.
The movie did a very good job of making me uncomfortable from Jump Street. My anxiety level was at a 12 the entire time. I would still recommend it, I guess. I was trying to find like uncomfortable movie scenes to kind of compare it to, because there was one in particular I couldn't ever think of, but it's a lot like the feeling that you have watching it is a lot like that scene in Bridesmaids where they're going back and forth with the microphone. You're just like,
oh yeah, right.
This is awful.
Just cringeworthy uncomfortableness.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a lot of like that feeling. I mean, I don't want to give any away, but Adam Sandler's like a hustler. He's a jeweler, and he kind of gets roped in, or it's his own demise type of thing. He gets into gambling issues, and Kevin Garnett plays a much bigger role in it than I thought that he did.
Yeah.
But I would still highly recommend it. Sandler is very, very good in it.
Garnett doesn't take anything, doesn't steal anything, doesn't take any scenes away, or doesn't upset the flow of the movie at all. So yeah, Garnett did a good job.
Yep. You did watch? You've seen it then?
Yeah, I've seen it. I theatered it up, man.
You theatered it up.
Ooh. Real Slansky move. Kind of.
I mean,
it was that movie up. It was got a lot of Oscar buzz in the movie. I'm gonna go see it in the theaters, Josh.
What was the studio? A24.
Yeah, they've got some other.
Absolutely, they're a good studio. It makes a lot of sense that Lansky would be able to watch them in the theater.
Oh, Lakeith Stanfield's in it also. That guy's great.
More or less anxiety than watching the sports betting on hardball.
Way more.
Keanu Reeves is playing for his watching Bulls games for his life.
I was trying to put which movie that was together in my head. Yep. The wheels were not turning fast enough.
It's very similar to that, only the stakes are a bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because Keanu Reeves only had like one bookie, whereas Adam Sandler is playing a shell game against like 3 of them. So it's very interesting. I'd still highly recommend going and checking out Uncut Gems, especially if it's on Netflix. Go check it out.
Oh,
Good watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to do it for us here on this week of Clearing Waivers podcast. I do appreciate you taking the time to join us here. I appreciate all my co-hosts, Rance, Kitty, Brian, for joining us this week. I want to encourage everybody to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube subscription type of things. We got our own channel now, but also go to the Kansas City Podcast Network channel. Check out some of those shows. They are some very good ones, and we've got some new additions coming on board to the Kansas City Podcast Network. I haven't seen the entire lineup of them, but there are some established podcasts that they have some real good potential. So I would advise you to keep an eye out for that. But as far as we kind of go, do the usuals, iTunes, rate and review us. We always appreciate that. Spotify, anywhere you find your podcast, we'll be there with you. And then Facebook page is always there, Facebook group, Twitter, Instagram. We're always on there as well to interact with you all. Like I said, this is the second week we've had a waiver wire submission. Any kind of suggestions you might have, throw them out to us. We'll have a little fun with them. So we'll definitely take those into account, and appreciate all the support, all the interaction we might have with you. But for Brian, Kitty, Rance, and myself, we do appreciate you once again. But ta-ta for now.
The day is done. Now the night has begun. Nerves in a restless crowd. The burning sun. Now nowhere to be found. Deeper to ground. 'Cause I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. A page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. A page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go so haughty, walking away. Hold your body close to the flames. Don't go so haughty, walking away. A loaded gun. Pressed against my brow. 'Cause I wonder how Gonna go somebody walking away your body. Close to the flame.